This video is for those of you who answered mostly A's on the mindset quiz. And if you don't know what the mindset quiz is, you can get it in your quality of life toolkit. It'll be emailed to you. It's a simple, easy, answer a few questions. And this result is for those of you who answered mostly A's. And what's getting in the way of making the most clear decision for your pet is your fear and doubt. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas of how to move past that fear and doubt. It's totally normal, first of all, to have a lot of fear and doubt because we really want to make the right decision for our pet. This fear is coming from a really good place of not wanting to let our pet down and not wanting to do something tragic, right? Like euthanizing your pet too soon is horrifically tragic. So I want to just dismiss, completely get rid of the idea that that's even possible. We're not going to euthanize your pet too soon. It can't happen because you're here, which means you're already seeing signs that say, my pet's not doing well. We're not going to be too soon. I want you to take that off the table. There's a common phrase in veterinary medicine that says it's better to euthanize a pet a week too soon than a day too early. And where that comes from is those last days can be horrific. Way worse than the idea of euthanizing your pet and thinking they still had a week or two of life. Part of the problem is when your pet may still have a week or two of life before they are just so inhumanely suffering, is that you may believe they have a few months. You believe you're robbing them of months, but that's often not the case. So how do you know? First of all, don't focus on details like their eating, their interest, or their life force can really confuse us, right? Because they have a life force in them. They want to get up and eat. They want to go for a walk. That drive we often interpret as their drive to live. And you're not totally wrong to interpret that. We all have a drive to live. It's internal. It's biochemical. Our bodies are designed to help us survive at all costs. It's the at all costs we need to look at because what we're doing is preventing suffering. The goal of euthanasia is to prevent your pet from experiencing horrific, excruciating suffering at the end. And believe me, in 20 years of doing this, with people who love their pets, who know their pets well, they get into situations where their pets significantly decline before they have a chance to do a euthanasia. And I'm not going to lie to you, seeing pets in this condition has given me PTSD. These are pets that were eating within 24 hours, walking around within 24 hours. So that's when I realized we're looking at the wrong signs. I want to shift that fear, that desire to not do wrong by your pet from not stealing a day of life to not making them undergo extreme suffering. And the difference between extreme suffering and they're just not doing well is like that. And the reason why is because your pet is slowly declining. And I say slow, it may feel quickly, because it may have been over a few months and you go, that's quick. So a few months is actually quite slow. A few weeks even is slow. I'm talking hours they can change. And the reason why is because as they are feeling worse or as their disease is progressing, they are coping. They are compensating. They still have their drive to go on a walk. They still have their drive to go eat or want to snuggle with you. And it's very common at the end for pets to become needy. This is also hard to read. So if your pet is following you around or wanting more attention, that could be your pet's best way to communicate with you. Help me. But it doesn't look like help me. It looks like my pet just wants to be with me. And so you can see how easy it is to miss these early signs and then decompensation. That moment when your pet's like, they seemed okay to they are really suffering to the point where it scares you. And trust me, I hear from these people on a weekly basis. People who have scheduled a euthanasia because they see their pet is declining, and they schedule their euthanasia maybe 2, 3, 4 days out, and they feel like everything's going to be fine. And the next day call me begging to get in because their pet is either in agony. This can on rare occasion look like crying all night, panting, not being able to breathe all night. It can just be less, it may not be that obvious, but all of a sudden there is a crash and you just know that pet is suffering and you want to get them out of that suffering as quick as possible. Now, I think everyone is holding off on doing a euthanasia until that day. The problem with doing that is you have to be ready to get your pet to the ER like that if that happens. If you want a home service to come out, you may not be able to get them that day. It may even be that night, which can be hours of your pet suffering, and worse, another day or two. This is why it's better to do it a week too soon than a day too late. So I just got done shooting the video for the mindset quiz answers, and I'm not exaggerating. Checked my phone and there was a client who had scheduled, let's see, today is Wednesday. They scheduled last night for Monday evening. And I never recommend scheduling out that far because too many things change. So I was texting her about that, and her response was that her pet actually passed away. So when she scheduled the appointment, she believed she had one more week to make it for home euthanasia, and she didn't even have a night.